Stephanie Gray has divided loyalties. Her two sons play in opposing teams, Docker Stephen Hill and Hawk Bradley Hill. Today she got a unique surprise to keep everybody happy. Organised by the boys' junior footy club, Quins Districts, and Chloe's Workwear.
I don't want to watch one of them lose, such a big game, but no, it'll be awesome. I'm glad they both made it and very proud of them.
This morning, the pilgrimage of purple fans continued in Melbourne.
It's hard to believe that it's true, but it is true. And it's kind of like you fluctuate from the, oh my God, to, oh my God.
Among them, some familiar faces.
The supporters have done it tough, but they finally get their crack at it. Let's just hope they bring it home.
Diane Waddingham is Melbourne bred, but she's about as dedicated as Dockers fans get.
It's just taken over my life.
When you say taken over your life, do you really mean that?
I mean, everything's purple. Everything.
And this is what it's all about on Saturday, the big stage, the ultimate prize. And after almost 2 decades of waiting, in 3 days' time, the Fremantle Dockers will finally get their chance.
As a kid growing up, dreaming about playing in grand finals and winning grand finals, and it's been a bit of a surreal week, hasn't really sunk in yet.
This year, the grand final entertainment will be all Australian, hunters and collectors, and Perth band Birds of Tokyo, who flew in specially from LA.
I'm tipping Hawthorn by about 4 or 5 goals, but I think it would be pretty special to see Fremantle take it.
The music has already begun in Perth. And if Perth Zoo's Trisha the Elephant's tip is anything to go by, the Purple Army could be celebrating a history-making win in 3 days' time.
Good evening from Melbourne once again. The man who brought Fremantle captain Matthew Pavlich into the AFL says the Dockers' inspirational skipper deserves to become a premiership player. Damien Drum oversaw the Pavs' first training session more than 14 years ago, a session that ended with Pavlich being rushed to hospital.
These days, Matthew Pavlich is revered as some kind of footy superhero.
That is the captain's goal.
But the man who welcomed the Freo skipper into the AFL remembers a time when Pavlich was just a skinny kid.
On his very first training session, Matty Pavlich ran himself into exhaustion and put a scare right through the club, and we ended up having the boy in hospital overnight.
Collapsed after sort of an hour and a half of ball work and 6 1K time trials. I found that a bit tough and a bit too hard, and wound up in intensive care, and it wasn't the ideal start to an AFL career.
So I walked over to the boys and asked them, have you had enough? And they said, oh, at least one more. And so Matthew Pavlich won the next race. As a 17-year-old, he actually streeted the field, so we thought, oh, well, we'll leave him in. And halfway through the next 400, he simply collapsed. As halfway through the run, he just went down. And then he deteriorated from there.
Pavlich, of course, has gone on to have a decorated career. Drum says he knew that'd be the case after that first session.
When it all settled down, we all realised what we had on our hands was a young man who didn't want to take a step backwards, a young man who didn't want to take any easy way out. He was just hell-bent and intent on doing everything by the book.
The chances of Pavlich leading the Dockers to their first flag have been boosted, with Fremantle declaring Michael Johnson, Luke McFarlane and Chris Mayne will all play on Saturday, while Hawthorn great and premiership coach David Parkin has praised Freo's game plan.
I just think it's a manic pressure that we've never seen applied with and without the ball by any team in the history of the game.
Ryan Daniels, 7 News.